Hello students and welcome back to our channel. So we'll be continuing the fluid mosaic model part. So let's just quickly revise some of the part of it. So as we saw that this is the cell membrane and this is the tile form. The small pieces, they actually depict the head of the cell membrane, which is the phospholipid head. Yes. So therefore this is the mosaic art, and we saw that the tail is hydrophobic in nature and they are fluidity because they get the fluidity through the presence of unsaturated fatty acids. So therefore the whole together, the model which was given by Singer and Nicholson is called as the fluid mosaic model. Okay students, moving further to today's class. So as we saw that the cell membrane is made up of four ingredients. So we will see. So we have studied in the last class about the lipids, which now in this class we'll be studying about the proteins. Okay. So we saw that the lipids, they were 40% making up the whole cell membrane, whereas the proteins, they make up 52 to 58 percentage. Out of that, the 52 percentage is nothing but is present in the red blood cells. So we are done with the lipid part. Now we'll be proceeding with the proteins part. So we can see here in this image, this part is the protein part, which is, we can see some of the proteins are just present from the outside and from the inside, whereas some are just completely embedded within the lipid bilayer. Okay, the lipid bilayer of the cell membrane. So moving further, proteins are actually, so we can see this is the cell membrane. Here this molecule which we studied at the end of the first lecture, and that is cholesterol. Cholesterol is present in the eukaryotic cell, whereas it is not present in the prokaryotic cell. Now if you want to check out that what type of molecule which is acting as a cholesterol in the prokaryotic cell which is present, you can check out the previous video. I will put the link of that in the description box. Okay, so what we can see here, this part is the outside of the part, outside of the cell part, whereas this is the inside part. So the proteins here are of two types. One is extrinsic, which is present on the outer side, and the second is intrinsic, which is present on the inner side. Now, this classification of the proteins which are extrinsic and intrinsic, it depends upon how the easily a protein can be get extracted from the cell membrane, and also their attachment with the cell membrane. So let's see how extrinsic protein are attached and how intrinsic protein are attached. So extrinsic protein, they are very loosely attached. They can easily be removed and they can easily be extracted from the cell membrane. Whereas in the case of intrinsic protein, they are very tightly bounded. They are very tightly attached with the cell membrane. So it is very difficult from them to get extracted. Okay. So what was the function of extrinsic protein? They act as receptors. Now what are receptors? So we'll be studying in detail about, when you study detail about the hormones, how the glands, they secrete a specific kind of hormone. These hormones, they have a specific shape and they go and bind to such kind of receptors. And then only the cell can actually evoke a chemical response towards it. Then the group of cell will function together, will evoke the response towards the tissue, then the tissue evokes the response towards the organ, and that's how a particular chain of chemical reaction starts. Now, extrinsic protein also induce some enzymatic action. We know that enzymes are biocatalysts. They increase or they alter the speed of the rate of the chemical reaction without affecting and participating within the chemical reaction. The same function is there for the intrinsic protein too. Now we'll be studying in detail about the intrinsic protein. So we can see here there is a cell membrane. Now, as we earlier discussed that there are some protein on the outside part which are extrinsic protein, and there are some inside which is the intrinsic. But there are some protein which are completely embedded within the cell membrane. Now, such proteins which are attached or they are embedded intrinsic proteins, they are called as either channel protein, tunnel protein, or they are also called as transmembrane protein. Okay, so they allow the molecules to go outside and inside of the cell. as we know that the tail part of the cell membrane is hydrophobic. So obviously the molecules, the water molecules, any kind of solutes and the dissolved particles, they have to move inside and outside. Such kind of proteins allow the molecules to transport inside and outside of the cell. Now, what is the function? As the cell membrane tail is hydrophobic, these proteins allow the entry and the exits of the molecule, ions, materials, substances, hormones, etc. Now, the movement of these molecules, they happen from the higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. And such kind of transport of the molecules is called as diffusion. Now, so this is not a simple diffusion. Okay. Diffusion, we know that it is a passive transport where the molecules move from higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. It is also called as passive transport or the downhill transport. But here, as the molecules are not directly passing out, here they need a medium, and that medium is actually nothing but the channel protein or the transmembrane protein. And here the diffusion, as it is happening with the help of channel protein, it is termed as facilitated diffusion. So to actually trigger the diffusion, the channel protein has to get activated. Now, even though it is a passive transport, it is undergoing a facilitated diffusion, there is no need of ATP molecule. So it is similar to that of diffusion where there is no ATP energy molecule is required, but as it is happening through the transmembrane protein or channel protein, it is undergoing a facilitated diffusion. Now moving further to the next type of intrinsic protein. So we saw the channel protein or the tunnel protein or the transmembrane protein as it was looking like a tunnel. Such kind of proteins which are also embedded within the cell membrane, but they are called as pump. Yes. Now, here the movement of molecules happens from the region of lower concentration to the region of higher concentration. So therefore, it is nothing but it is an active transport. So this diffusion was a downhill transport or it was a passive transport. Here, the pump is undergoing active transport or it is also called as uphill transport. But yes, here there is a need of ATP molecule. Here there is a need of ATP molecule. This cannot happen without ATP. There is a need of ATP molecule. So I hope you must have understood the concept of fluid mosaic model and the role of proteins inside it. So if you like the video, then please hit the like button and do subscribe to our channel. And the remaining part of the cell memory will be studying in the next topic. So till then, take care, bye, and sure, if there is any suggestion, then it is completely welcome. You can comment that in the comment section. Take care, bye.